back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys a whole lot for subscribing to my YouTube channel, following me on all of my various social media platforms. I appreciate you guys a lot. So guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to actually cut and sew this trendy side bubu dress, a one-sided and bubu dress. So I just came across it and I love the dress. It looks so beautiful. So today I'm going to show you how to actually cut and stitch this dress. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, if this is the first time of you coming across this channel, please hit on the subscribe button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then hit on the bell also to get an update whenever I upload a new video. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and then Pinterest at Stylish Naija. I normally post notification of videos notifications there, so in case you miss any of my videos notification here on YouTube, you can see them on those platforms, and then you can be able to access the video. So just follow me all at Stylish Naija. And also, if you want to register for my online class, I normally do online classes every month. So you see my number scrolling through the screen. Just send me a message on WhatsApp and then I'll send you the details of the classes. So let's just get started right now. Okay guys, so if you want to do this kind of bubu dress, what you are going to do, so you can see the fabric that I have here today. For mine, I'm not going to be doing a full long bubu. So I want my own to be half, just like a half bubu, but it's still the same process. Everything is the same. So I'm going to teach you how to achieve it. For this, we're not going to be using any pattern. I'm going to be using the freehand method to do this. So you can actually do this in two ways. You can use either a pattern to do this, or you can use a freehand. So I'm going to teach you how to do a freehand, and then you will not waste your fabric in the process, because the reason for using pattern is so you will not waste your fabric. But I'll teach you the freehand method. So all you are just going to do is just increase the length. So from this my own measurement, just increase the length down. That's just like basically the only difference. So let's just get started. So for this, in doing this kind of dress, the first thing you are going to put into consideration is your across back measurement. That's half of your back, half of your shoulder measurement. So for you to be able to get the sides that has the bat wing part. So what you are going to do, so I'm just using this rough sketch, like, so this is your shoulder, this is your shoulder. So this part, this is the center of your shoulder. So what you are going to measure, you are going to measure from this point, that's the center of your shoulder, to where you actually want your sleeve to get to. That's how long you want the sleeve to be. You are just going to measure it that way. So with that, you just measure from this point like this, and then measure it, stretch, let it stretch from that back like this, and then let it stretch to where you want your sleeve to get to. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to explain. That's what you are going to use for the first part. And then the second part, you are going to use your normal regular dress size. So what you are going to do, after getting your half of that measurement, you are going to fold your fabric like this. You are going to fold your fabric. You are going to fold your fabric using your normal regular hip measurement. So for instance, if your hip is 40 inches, which is the biggest part, you are going to fold your fabric into 4. That's this part like this. You are going to fold like this, and then when you divide 40 into 4, you have 10 inches. And then the allowance that you are going to add to it, you are going to add just like maybe 1 or 2 inches allowance. That allowance is just for you to be able to stitch this side that is the straight side. So the other part you are going to stitch on the open. So for instance, if my hip is 40, I'm just going to add about 1 inch or 2, about just 1 inch is enough to stitch it. 1 inch to reach. So I have 11 inches. So I'll just fold this part like this at 11 inches. So now this part, this is the center of my dress now. So all of my measurements are starting from this point. So now from that measurement that I talked about, that's half of the across back measurement to where you want your sleeve to be. That's what you are going to place on this part. So mine, what I actually have here is about 26 inches, which is okay. So the next thing you are going to do now, you are just going to mark all of your measurements. So I'm marking like this. So this is my bust point, because that part is going to be tight. It's going to be fitted. So you need all of this measurement. If you are using a stretchy fabric, you might not need to add zipper. But if you are not using a stretchy fabric, you are going to fold your fabric. That's the way you are going to make the back add a zipper allowance to the back piece. If you are using a fabric like an Ankara, you need to add a zipper, or else that dress will not be able to enter into it, because you see it from the picture, it is a fitted dress. So this is my bust line, and then my waistline, and then my full length. So these are just like the part where I'll put into consideration my bust point, my half cut, that's my waistline, and then my hip line. So these are the parts that I'll put into consideration. So I'll add all of the line. These parts now, this measurement that I'm going to be inserting on this point, they are going to be fitted. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to come to this point like this. I'll measure my neckline. So for the neckline, I'm going to use about 3.5 inches on fold, and then I'll come from this point. Now after measuring the 3.5 inches, this part I'm not touching it. I just want you to understand what I'm doing. So I'll come to this part where I have this fold like this. I'll measure my armhole. So from this point, I'll measure 1 inch down that I'm going to use to slant it. So I'm just going to slope this now, slope it into the other part. That's the long sleeve. That's the bat and wing, or cow, or elephant, depends on what you are calling it. I'll just slope the 1 inch for my shoulder slope. I'll slope it in, and then from this point like this, I'll mark my shoulder measurement. You mark my shoulder. This is my, let me mark my shoulder measurement. Remember, this was my neckline, so I'll mark my shoulder measurement, my regular shoulder. You know, one part is a complete dress. This is my shoulder measurement. I'm just going to add half of an inch for stitching, and then from this point I'll mark my armhole like this. So the armhole is on one part, so I'll mark my armhole, and then my neckline. I've measured 3.5. So for the depth of the neckline, you can do any depth of neckline that you want. So I'll mark the neckline. This is my neckline depth. I'm using 5 inches. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'll measure my bust measurement. It is fitted. So my bust measurement is 36. I'm using 9 inches. And remember that my 1 inch that I'm going to use to stitch, that's just like all. I'll put it here. And then my waist measurement is 16. That's 32, which is when you divide into 4, you have 16. So I'm just going to add the same 1 inch. So from this point, I'll mark it to this point like this. And then my hip measurement. So like I told you, my hip is 40. So from this point like this, 40, I have the 1 inch here. I'm just going to curve my hip. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to do here. You just curve your hip, and then you take it down. So from the hip line measurement, you're just going to, for those of you that are doing full long gown, you just take it down to the end and take it down. So you see our dress, this part you are not touching it. This is the other cow part. So I'm going to cut out right now. Front and the back neckline, I'm cutting both of them the same. So I'm just going to cut like this, and then I'll cut out my shoulder slope. And then this part, I want you to note, take a very good note. So I'll cut this armhole. We're not touching this down part, so please just know what we are doing here. So you cut your armhole on one side like this, and then this side, because the shape that you have here, that's what you are going to put here. So here's what we are going to do. You're just going to take this like this. You are just cutting the top. So you see, we have cut it. So the next thing you are going to do, you know this one now, we are going to stitch this one on the inside. We're actually going to stitch this on the inside. So what you are going to do, you are going to open up your fabric like this. Now I want us to stitch to get this shape on the wrong side. Okay, let me just, because of the sake of this tutorial, let me just do it on this side. So you are just still going to place it like this, and then you take the same shape. Here's what you are going to do. You are going to take your chalk, and then you are going to mark like this. You are going to follow the same shape. You understand? So you are going to follow the same shape down. So for this part now, here's what you are going to do. Here's what you are going to do. You are just going to come and stitch this point like this. You are going to stitch this point like this for this side. You can decide to come down a little bit, because if you start from here, this part might be too small. So what you are just going to do, you can measure about 10 inches. So this is 10 inches. So you're just going to leave this top part and then start from about 10 inches. Depends on how wide you want your sleeve opening to be. You can do 10, you can do 12. So it depends on what you want. So from this point now, you are going to follow this shape and then you are going to stitch. This one you are stitching it on the right side, while this one was stitching it on the inside. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take it to my machine now, and then for this part now, I'm going to stitch it on the inside. So I'll go and stitch this from the inside first, and then I'll come back and show you. Okay. So the first thing, you stitch this side, and then I'm going to join my shoulder. So all of this you are joining on the wrong side. You join this shoulder on the wrong side, join this shoulder on the wrong side, and then join this side on the wrong side before we join this part on the right side. So I'll do that right now. Okay guys, so you see our dress and we are almost done. So you see how beautiful it is looking. So like I said, if you want a long dress, all you are going to do, just take it down to the down part, just measure up to where you want to. So I've turned my neckline with my facing, and then here you could say I have a regular sleeve here. That's what I'm going to attach, just a basic sleeve. So I have a video of it. If you don't know how to cut a sleeve like this, I'm going to drop it on the description box for you. So I'm going to fix it on this part. You see how beautiful the dress is looking. And then for this part now, we're going to stitch this part. So like I was explaining to you, this was what I was explaining. You're just going to take this part like this. You fold this part like this, and then make sure that the shoulder point, that's the neckline point, is the same. And then you are going to open. So for this part, you know, normally I use 8 inches on my sleeve opening that's for this regular sleeve. So for this part, I could decide to make it up to 10 inches so that it will be free. So here's what you are going to do. You are just going to take your chalk like this, and then from this right hand side, you're just going to use the shape of what you have here. That's just the best way to do it. You're just going to measure the shape like this. Just mark the shape. It's very simple and easy. And then now I'm going to take it back to my machine now. On the right side, on this right side like this, I'm just going to mark like this. So because if you see the gown, you see that it is shapy. So because they use the shape of this side on this side, so that is why you see that curve. So from this point like this, I'm just going to mark like this. I'm just going to stitch, just give it a stitch using my chalk. Is obvious, so I'm just going to stitch it, so, and then fix my sleeve. So you see how simple it is for us to do this trendy sided bubu. So I'm just going to finish it up, and then I'll come back and show you the final look of the dress. Okay guys, so you could see the final look of our trendy bubu and sided dress. So at the end of the day, so I made mine, like I said, into a top. So for this top, I actually used about 1.5 yards of fabric to achieve this. So if you want to make it into a long dress, I would advise you use between 4 yards and 5 yards. That's between 4 and 5 yards, depends on the size. For somebody that is big, you could use 5 yards. But for somebody that is average size, just like my size, you could do 4 yards. So but 3 yards will really not work. You won't be able to get that length. So you could see the side. So you see how the side is looking. So you see the part that I was talking about, how shapy it is. So just imagine if it was a long dress, it would just flow, catching the heat and then going downwards. So guys, we have now come to the end of this video illustration. So if you find this helpful, I would appreciate if you hit on the like button to make me know you appreciate what I did with this video. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Thank you so much.